Hello there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be discussing about well-architected framework. In cloud and cloud-related platforms, there is one important terminology which is termed as well-architected framework, or in simple words, a good architecture. In interviews, you may be asked a question while designing a project, while configuring a project, what will be your approach? What will be your set of mind when you design the architecture? What are the important aspects you will be looking into? Which are the most important aspects you will be looking into while working on a dedicated architecture? So there are five pillars, the five most important aspects when we speak about well architected framework, or a good architecture should have five pillars. The first amongst them is operational excellence. Now, what do you mean by operational excellence? Whenever an application is hosted onto a cloud platform or any other platform, the users expect that there is no downtime, there is no technical issue, there is no glitch, or there is no crash. For that, one should ensure that as a cloud engineer, as an architect, you should ensure that your system is running effectively and you're monitoring the system very effectively. For that, you should ensure that you have automation in place. That means if there is a small update, the small update should be reflected in the real time on your project. You should have monitoring in place. You should ensure that you continuously improve the architecture. So, checking the logs, alerts, and quickly detecting the issues and resolving the issues. So, the first important aspect is the operational excellence. Then comes security. Now, why security is important? Security is the most critical aspect when it comes to designing a secure architecture. Your data should be protected. You should ensure that whoever is being given access, you should give least privilege access. What do you mean by least privilege access? That means a user should be given only that much access that he or she requires, that is needful to complete the task. Then you should ensure that your data is encrypted. You should ensure that you're using a secure network, and you should restrict unwanted access to your system. So, security is yet another aspect when it comes to the well architected framework. The second important pillar is security. Let's move on. The third thing is related to reliability. Your system, if there is a failure, if there is an issue which happens, uh, your system should try and recover from that failure. It should be fault tolerant. There should be backup and recovery. Like your system should be integrated in such a way that it is automated for backups. The backup should be taken at regular intervals. Further comes auto scaling. If the number of users increase over time, your servers should the count of your servers should increase to serve the traffic accordingly. If the user count decreases, the number of servers should go down. This is what is auto scaling, which ensures that the system is reliable and also it optimizes the cost. So, this is very important, that is related to reliability. Further, speaking about multi ASI deployment, I have explained this in my previous video related to the regions and multi AZ, in which if a particular AZ goes down due to technical issues, the data should be replicated in another availability zone. AZ stands for availability zone. So the traffic can be served from that availability zone. So this is what is reliability. You should ensure that your data is backup, it can be recovered, and it is being hosted into multi-availability zone. Further, your system should be such that it should try and tolerate the fault to a particular instant. It should have auto healing capabilities. Further, the fourth pillar is related to performance efficiency. How do you say performance efficiency is important? Sizing the instance type, properly sizing the instance type. If I want only 16 GB of RAM, and if I am configuring the instance with 32 GB, what is going to happen is everything will be working fine, but I'll be charged unnecessary. My cost will be going up unnecessary. That is why it is very important to size the instance in proper way. That is rightly sizing it with respect to the CPUs, that is the compute power, the memory, and all. You try and access the service, access the application in a easier way. Try and make use of auto scaling, as I discussed earlier. Then comes cost. Cost is the most important aspect when it comes to well architected framework, right? So the most important aspect which I feel is related to cost. So avoid unnecessary spending, pay only for what you are using, and only provision those services which are actually required, and do not provision anything else. If you are done with the system, if you are done with the server, try to ensure that you keep it in the stop state. If you don't want to reconfigure it, you can keep that instance, keep that server in the stop state. Use reserved or spot instances. Applications which are not dependent too much on the infrastructure, which can take downtime, which are hosted for experimental purpose, can be designed on spot instances. Spot instances come with a low cost as compared to the on-demand instances. That is, spot instances or spot servers come with a lesser cost as compared to the on-demand servers. You have to monitor the usage. You have to check which service is consuming, which service is I'm being billed more for. You can try and rework on it. You can try and find an alternative solution to ensure that the cost reduces accordingly. So, as discussed, the five important pillars are operational excellence, security, reliability, performance, and cost. If anyone is going to ask you what does a good architecture look like, or when you are designing designing a project, implementing a project, your architecture, which will be the important aspects. So these are the five things which will be the most important when you will be designing the project. Amongst that, cost, security, all are important, but I would rate cost and security maximum. So a bad architecture will be having no monitoring, no backup, and will be having only single server. Whereas a good architecture will make use of auto scaling, load balancer, will be having monitoring enabled, will be having backups enabled, will be having multi-AZ deployment. So this is what is about well-architected framework or a good architecture should look like. And these are the five important pillars when it comes to a good architecture, a well-architected framework. So that's it from me for this session, for this video on well-architected framework. If you have understood the concept, please do like the video and please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you.